when a franchisee has decided he wants to join us, there's then a period where he puts together his business plan. We have a suggested list of questions that he or she thinks through as they're doing that. And we then will show them the format a bank expects them to deliver information in. So they'll troop off to the bank with a well put together business plan, usually for the next 3 years, plus a cash flow and a piece about themselves and what it is about them that's going to make the business a success. In terms of our role in that, if they haven't already got business planning background, we will coach them through that. It's still terribly important it's their plan and they've really thought through what they need to do. We do have relationships with all of the major banks. AutoSmart's extremely highly thought of. So their job is to explain why they will be a successful business owner. But with that, the mantle of AutoSmart franchisees do very well to support them in the bank interview.
And that's when we build with them their specific business plan for their business given their circumstances. So whether they're taking on a brand new territory or buying an existing business. And it's really, really thorough. We don't do a business plan and present it to them. We make them build a business plan from the ground up. Again, it's got stages. So when we give them a template for how to do a business plan and some basic information to put into that business plan. And what we're testing there is, can they follow a system? It's beginning to test their ability to follow the system. So don't question the template and don't question too much what we're asking you to put in. Can you just put those in and send it back to us? And then we build that business plan up gradually with them. They get to a point where they have created their business plan for their specific territory, and we then invite them to come back and spend a day with us at the Bubble, and that's a finance day when our finance team go over that business plan with them in finite detail, so we are absolutely assured that they understand all of their numbers and how much money they're going to make from this business and their ability to afford it. And it's at that stage then we then go over, we talk to them about funding and banking as well on that day.
The potential franchisees should prepare themselves for the meeting with the bank by really, really understanding that business plan and being very, very comfortable in understanding it. You know, the cash flow, the P&L, the numbers in the business plan, you know, the sales they've got to make each month, because if they really don't show to us they're comfortable with that, then they're not going to get bank funding from the bank and the bank manager will not lend to them. And it's critical to us that they, you know, they really do understand, you know, the cash flow and the amount of jobs they've got to sell and the profit and loss. Because if they are not comfortable at that point, we will go through that with them several times in our second or third meeting before we'd even present them to the bank. And as I said, they've got to make the bank manager comfortable, otherwise the bank won't lend to them as well. So we ask them to really study that business plan for a week before we'd even put it into a bank manager. And if there's anything they're not sure about, go through it with us and we will walk them through that business plan so they totally understand it.
For me, a good business plan is the detail. Any business will grow because it's won more customers. So how many customers are you going to win? How are you going to identify those customers? What are you going to sell to them? So for me, it's based on having a sales plan that's really nailed on. And then the business owner needs to explain what it is about him that means he'll make that plan actually happen. So certainly with our business, once you have the confidence to win more business, sales zoom up, cash and profits follow. Banks, in my view, like lending money to franchisees compared to lending money to someone who's come up with a notion on their own, because they know that there's a tried and tested formula that means if the owner follows it, the sales, the profit, the cash will follow. So what banks look at, then they know the business itself will work. They're really concentrating on what the owner will bring to the business in terms of his drive and his oomph, if you like.
The next step is getting the funding from the bank, and we take that business plan and we go to the bank with them. And we really help them to go to the bank. We have a really good, strong working relationship with the banks that we work with. They know us really well. They know the financial process we put our franchisees through, which gives them great assurance that we're sending the right calibre of people to them.
We do the business plan with our franchisees together. It's an evolving document. It's a live document evolving all the time.
The other bit as well is finance and business planning, which I'm really passionate about. Not just when you start with Water Babies, but we also help you through your maintaining the financial structure of your business throughout your entire life cycle with us. But as the businesses grow, they also need future funding. They may want to invest in a swimming pool, they may want to invest in an office, grow their team. And again, with our working relationship with the banks, which we think is really, really good, then we can help our franchisees to do that as well. So there's an awful lot of ongoing business planning that takes place with our franchisees as well, right up to exit, to make sure that we keep them fresh, keep them current, make sure they can access all the tools that they need to have a successful business. That's when we start the legal process, which is the next step for us. That's when we send them their franchise agreements, ask them to go and have that reviewed. We insist that they go and get it reviewed by an independent franchise-approved lawyer, franchise lawyer, BFA-approved franchise lawyer. We point them in the direction of a number that we know, but they're free to choose anybody that they want to, so they've got an independent report. And again, we take them through the franchise contract. Our process at Waterbabies is that we don't change one full stop on our franchise contract for any franchisee, and we don't have any side letters. Everybody signs the same agreement. And the reason we do that is that we have consistency in the system, but also it's another one of our tests, i.e., will that franchisee accept the process, believe the system, believe in the system.
A franchising relationship is underpinned with a contract. And it's really important that each franchisee has the same. In fact, a clause in our contract says fair play for all franchisees, everyone to be treated the same. So from that, it's fairly obvious that the agreement stays consistent across everybody. So we will have people say to us, but I'd like this added or that added. We don't. It is a inflexible contract, if you like, yet it's been put together with lots of consultation with the network over time. So in terms of the agreement, don't expect your franchisor to be ultra flexible and write little bits and pieces in for you. In my experience, that will not happen. Yet it'll be a fair agreement that protects your interests.
In terms of the franchise agreement and compliance, it's incredibly important. Every franchise agreement is the same and as such can't be changed, but the compliance and the understanding of that agreement is very important.
We ask prospective franchisees to sign a confidentiality agreement at the point that they come for their one-to-one discovery session. The reason we do that is it means that we can offer full disclosure. We can answer any question that they ask us openly and honestly, and it also protects our franchisees then when they progress to a field day, that they can disclose full information about their own businesses when they're taking a prospective franchisee out as well.
Well, we insist on our franchisees taking on board the services of a BFA-affiliated solicitor so that they can fully understand the agreement, understand what it is that they're committing themselves to over this long period of time.
Yes, we do assist with site selection for our franchisees once they've come into the brand. We do it through demographic profiling. We use a tool called GeoPlan. So basically, in the postcode, because our territories are exclusive postcodes, 90% of our customers are over the age of 50, 80% of our customers are over the age of 60, and the homeowners. So, we are dealing with the grey market. So we would look at this GeoPlan software, and it gives us the profiling tools. So if, for argument's sake, if someone was buying Bath, it would tell us the 2 or 3 hotspots in the Bath postcode, which might be BA17 or BA19, where it would have the highest proportion of senior citizens in that sector are homeowners. So that would tell us where our core customers are and who we sell to. So we would look at parachuting the showroom into them 2 postcodes. Plus, we would ask that local franchisee, potential franchisee as well, it's your territory, you know your area as well, and then we would actually get all the commercial letting agents to send us all the availability of shops in those 2 postcode sectors, and then we would go and view them. What does it look for footfall? What does it look for drive-by trade? Does it traffic? Does it have easy access for parking for customers? And does it have easy access to take deliveries for all our suppliers? So it's absolutely critical we do that with our potential franchisees.
Yeah, in terms of finding a location and taking on a new lease, as we actually take the head lease, we're taking on the liability for this property, so we're heavily involved in that. Any incentives that we gain in terms of rent-free periods or rent rebates are then mirrored in the underlease, so any money off, as it were, goes directly to the franchisee.
Yeah, the signage, obviously we have a standard format, obviously in the ops manual of Dream Doors. We have 67 showrooms around the country now, so we have 67 templates of all our best selling styles and colours of doors and worktops and appliances. So our 5 business development managers would design the showroom with the franchisee, because it is their showroom at the end of the day, and we would guide them and give them best practice. This is the designs that are selling well, these are the colours, these are the styles, and these are the bays we've done in other showrooms, and we would show them the templates of the showrooms we've already done and let them choose the bays and styles with our business development managers.
A few weeks prior to opening any new store, the franchising manager and training team will attend a local recruitment day where new staff are selected ready for store opening. These new staff, once selected, then spend a few weeks in a corporate store bringing them up to sales assistant competencies in preparation for the store build.
I think people learn in different ways, and the majority of our franchisees tell us that they prefer to learn by doing. So sitting in a classroom being endlessly trained is okay, but it doesn't really show you how to go out and create the sale. So we have a short induction here. We have people in small groups and we train them in our top selling products. That's only 5 days. It doesn't sound long because the training then happens in the field. So we have the UK split into regions. A regional manager will look after a new franchisee in his region, and he gets loads of time just showing him what to do. So on the first day, the regional manager will walk into a customer he's never met and get a conversation going, demonstrate a product. He builds up over that day till the franchisee is comfortable doing that. So we show very much by doing. And we're fully resourced to make sure a franchisee has all of the coaching that he needs. The coaching is very much a two-way conversation. We expect the franchisee to be knowing what he needs to learn and where his need is his confidence building, for example, that he tells us that. And it's a learning experience very, very much at the start, but over the lifetime of the franchise as well.
Our initial training used to be 5 days induction training at head office. We've now extended it to 10 days at head office, and we've extended, we obviously would go through the operations manual from start to finish and how Dream Doors works, but now we've actually added 3 extra days on the second week on selling in the home, overcoming objections when the customer says no, doing role play, taking them out of their comfort zone. We found like our top franchise owners who are really comfortable selling at home excel, but some of the ones who are not so comfortable, we've had to give them much more sales training.
The initial training will consist somewhere in the region of 500 hours, although some franchisees have invested more time and spent 2,000-3,000 hours in store. Very much predominantly based in store, so they're gaining all of the experience that they're going to need to be able to serve our customers. But then there's also further training with different departments, be it commercial, IT, HR, and all of the other functions where they go and meet and understand the processes before opening store.
Dream Doors constantly has ongoing training all the time. There is no charge to the franchisees whatsoever. We actually ask the franchisees, would you like to send your staff on training courses? We get all our suppliers, like our worktop suppliers, our carcass suppliers or appliance suppliers, they actually do free Dream Doors exclusive training days on their products, where we can take our franchisees or we can take their staff to their training quarters around the country, because all our suppliers come from the UK, and they do exclusive product training with our franchisees or their staff. We actually run basically training courses every other month in the Dream Doors network, constantly refreshing the franchisees or their staff on the products that we sell.
A typical franchisee will spend approximately 500 hours working in store, working on basic competencies for sales assistant, supervisor, all the way through to manager. On the back of that, they will also visit with the various departments and the back of house functions to get a full understanding of those.
We also have systems in place for training our franchisees' own staff. So all Water Babies teachers have to come through the bubble, come through us centrally to be trained. So everybody goes through the same diploma training course, and it's delivered by us. And of course, that is our bread and butter, that is our product, and that's how we make sure that it's the best it can be all the time. So it's never delivered by a third party. It's not delivered by a franchisee training somebody they've employed. Everyone has to come through us, and they have to pass. We do fail people.
The business administration is, if you've never done it before, it seems complicated, it seems hard. It is actually relatively simple. There's a computer on board system that generates the invoices for us. That goes straight into a finance package. The finance side of the business is very straightforward to organise. The talent's in creating the sales. So we do have a package and a system for that. For us, it's very simple, takes care of itself almost.
It's really, really thorough, our training. There's two elements to it. One is the aquatic side, of course, becoming a teacher, and then the other is all the business and the systems training for actually running your franchise. So very quickly on the swimming side, that whole process actually ends with you getting a diploma. So you can get a diploma in engineering, you can get a diploma in midwifery, you can now get a diploma in 0 to 4 baby swimming, but only through water babies. And that means we're on the United Kingdom's government education framework standard, which is quite an achievement. We actually got our qualification to that standard about 2 years ago. So when they come in, the first bit of their training is going to do a diploma. And we have some people that have never been into higher education, and actually going through that process, because it's not just in the pool, it's also academic as well, is actually quite challenging for many people. The diploma process is actually over 300 hours of training, split into a number of chunks. And the two sort of famous elements of it within water babies are there were 7 to 8 days in the swimming pool. So we were in the pool for 8 days, pretty well from 9 o'clock in the morning to 6 o'clock in the evening. So it's really full on. And then you've got your practical training. So once you've done the theory training in the pool, we then send you out into the network. You go and see many franchisees and teach many classes, but actually live classes to real paying clients through a process of support, so a support structure process. So that's incredibly thorough, 300 hours. If you're going to be a franchisee going through that training, it's the same training that a teacher goes through, but obviously as a franchisee, it's even harder for you in so much as we make you run more classes, we send you to more venues, so you get a broader sense of what it's like to operate in a whole spectrum of venues and meet other franchisees. And then you're into the business side, and the business side is 6 weeks, again split into chunks, but you basically spend time with each of our business areas. So the company is split down into a number of business sections: aquatics, photography and products as the 3 business areas, and then marketing, finance, HR, the list goes on. Health and safety is a long list. And all of these are your support structures when you become a franchisee. And so you spend specific time with each of those areas being trained specifically around that part of the business and the system. Some are quite short because they're not that in depth. Some are very, very long and take a number of days. The training is also worked around that individual franchisee. So it's not you have to take 6 weeks and come and be here in boot camp for 6 weeks. There are blocks of time when you have to be here, but some of it we can actually do with you depending on your circumstances. And a lot of it is practical. So you spend a lot of your training actually on site with a franchisee, both from a swimming point of view, but also running the business as well. So you're actually in a lot of franchise offices as well.
We, like all franchisors, we charge a franchise fee. Our franchise fee isn't made up into individual bits. It's a clean number. And sometimes we meet people who say, but that seems a lot of money, and it is a lot of money, a franchise fee, when you're setting up a business. Compared to the cost of setting up a business on your own and all the mistakes that you may make, the franchise fee is an absolute snip. So with a franchise fee, what you have is everything organised and set up for you, no errors made, no cost of that. But also what you get with a franchise is you have your product ranges looked after for life. In our case, we're always moving the product range forward. You haven't got any product sourcing to worry about. You haven't got any research and development to ever think about. You also have coaching for life, and even when people join, we have people join us who have been working with a franchisee and join us and pay the franchise fee. They're already trained in the selling side, but any business owner, in any business you have ups, you have downs. We're there, we're ready to coach when anybody needs help.
Okay, when you first take on a franchise, there's the initial licensing fee. Now that allows the individual to own and operate a CEX franchise in their particular location. From there, the profitability and how we sustain our company is through the management service fee or the royalties that are charged on the sales that are achieved through your location.
When it comes to ongoing training and support, the regional business manager is responsible for helping the franchisee every year, whether it's year 1 or year 21, to think through what his goals are for that year. And the training that we offer, or the support or the motivation, whatever's required, is linked to whatever the business owner's particular plan is. And it might be some time learning a new product sector. It might be thinking through what pricing decisions need to be made to particular customers. It really does vary. And also how you feel every year might be different. So we have a simple notion of a bottle of oomph, and we have a real bottle cut into layers. And it might be business planning, it might be grouping with other franchisees, it might be having some field-based coaching. Whatever oomph that franchise owner feels will add the most value in that particular period is what we provide. So it's tailor-made, and it works.
Yeah, we have 5 business development managers in territory, plus my business development director below, and oversees the network for me, with me. And it's constantly business development on the Dream Doors model, on the Dream Doors intellectual property, how to run the Dream Doors model, how to sell in the home, how to recruit staff, how to recruit fitters, marketing, going on appointments, gathering information for the appointments, selling in the home, ordering the stock, booking in the fits for the job, and getting their balances. We constantly go over that all the time with our franchisees, and we have a system now that we won't have any franchisee, even if they're older and been in the Dream Doors network 8, 9 or 10 years, they have to be seen, everyone has to be seen every 6 weeks. Even an older franchisee. But our newer franchisees, they're seen literally every single week.
When you're a business owner, it can be a little lonely, because the success of the business and the direction of the business is all set by yourself. And something that the majority of our business owners get a huge motivation from is grouping with other business owners, and we call that Pool Your Power. And we have 4 meetings a year based in a region where everyone pulls together and discuss topics that help each other. Often we'll be launching new products at the same time as well. And the pooling of your power, i.e. talking to other business owners who have similar challenges, similar opportunities, is immensely powerful.
Support is a really big thing here in Water Babies. We have a central support team here which is much larger than a traditional franchisor of our sort of size would be. And that is because we are all about people and making sure they are successful. The thing that we're proudest of, we've never had a business fail in Water Babies. And that is because we really, really support them very, 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 very strongly indeed. That support is 24/7, it's all year round. People do ring up at 8 o'clock in the evening. Somebody will be on the phone here in our structure if they need that level of support. Specifically though, the way we do it is we call it wraparound care. So we have specialists in each of the major business areas that you need to run your Water Babies business day to day. So you've got aquatics, you've got photography, and you've got products as the 3 principal income streams. So we have teams of people here that run those 3 sections. We've got marketing, so we've got a large marketing department. Finance is probably the biggest, it's not probably, it's the biggest department that we have in Water Babies, biggest business stream. And that's because, as anybody knows running a business, it's all about your ability to actually run your cash flow, run your financial models. And I'm yet to see a franchisee actually that's ever sat down in front of me and gone, I can't wait to take on a Water Babies franchise because I can't wait to get into my balance sheet, understand my EBITDA, do my profit and loss account. So we know that's the biggest weakness of people coming in to a franchise system. And so we have a huge support structure around that. And in fact, we do their finances with them for their first year. We are their bookkeeper for the first year. So we train them over a year period to get to understand their numbers and how that side of the business works. So finance is big, and we have HR, we have health and safety and so on. So there's specialist areas covering every major aspect of a Water Babies franchise business, and they're all on tap for that particular franchisee. Every year we're looking at our support structure, our systems. We're always in dialogue with our franchisees, and if we think we need to augment it in any way, then we do that. Apart from the business side of it, keep going back to people and culture and all of that, it's hugely important to us. So we have a huge communication flow with our network as well. And the way we do that is that we have a monthly webinar every month at 7 o'clock on a prescribed day. The whole of the bubble sit down and talk to the network. Everyone dials in on a webinar. We invite the network to give us any questions they may have 2 weeks before that, so we know anything they may want to ask at that period of time. We feed back to them anything that's going on in the business, that's business critical, changes or whatever, and then we have an open dialogue at the end. So we do that once a month. I'm always there, the chief executive is always there, key members of the team are there, depending on what's going on. So every month that happens. We of course have our annual conference, and we also have a pod structure, which some franchisors will know as a franchise council. But we have what we call pods, where we have dedicated teams of franchisees who are aligned to each of the business streams that support them. So for example, a team of franchisees are aligned with the marketing department, and they help us to do one of two things: either to make a decision about something we're wanting to introduce in the system, or once we've made that decision, once we've introduced something, to help us to implement it. That's their function.
Yes, we do hold regular forums and get-togethers. We have an annual conference once a year where we get the whole network together, and we get all our suppliers down, and we have a supplier training day, and we have a Dream Doors day. Then we tell them our vision and our plans for next year and our support. And we talk about what we've all achieved that year. We do motivational speaking in the afternoon. We get our franchisees on the stage to talk about, you know, their businesses. We get them and talk about best practice. We have regular training days every other month where we get franchisees together on our training days together. We have an intranet where they can all talk to each other on the forum, and they post questions and answers on the intranet and talk to each other. And as I've said, literally nearly every month or every other month, we have Dream Doors training days where we get franchisees together.
In terms of ongoing improvement and two-way communication, we have a franchisee council. So there's 3 senior franchisees from the network, and they have set up a process whereby every franchisee can add their comments, concerns or ideas for improvement. Once a quarter, the Franchise Council will sit down and assess all of the points that have been raised to date, and they will then rate them on a scale of 1 to 5 and understand each of the individual problems, which is where they sit down with me. So once a quarter, we then discuss all of the findings that they have and the improvements that need making, and we see these through to completion of each individual project.
There's a lot of peer-to-peer support in the Dream Doors network. I think it's how you harvest that. You know, I think our older franchise owners actually enjoy mentoring, you know, their newer franchisees next door territory to them. And the spirit of franchising, it's one of the best things you can have. There is a lot of peer-to-peer training in Dream Doors. Before we launch a franchisee who signed the franchise agreement, we will ask that potential franchisee to spend 2 or 3 days with certain franchisees in you know, near to them in their territory. And our existing franchisees are very good. They'll let them come into their business, spend 2 or 3 days with them in the showroom, watching them talk to customers and taking them on appointments. So we have a lot of peer-to-peer support in Dream Doors. We assist our franchisees in launching their business by a huge marketing campaign. Like in the first couple of months of Dream Doors, we would spend anywhere we could between £3,000 and £4,000 on marketing per month. And we would like take out big adverts in the paper, half pages, full pages in the free papers and the bought papers in their area, through our demographic profiling, where our hotspots are. We would turn our pay-per-click on, where we do pay-per-click for our franchisees. So if anyone typed in anything about a kitchen or a worktop or a makeover, Dream Doors would stay top on Google 24 hours a day. And we could spend up to £500–600 a month on Google to get leads for our franchisees. We may even do radio straight away for them as well, because it can generate a huge amount of leads at the beginning and get our franchisees out on appointments as quickly as possible with our franchise managers. So we would go in free papers, bought papers, directories and local parish magazines, pay-per-click on our website, and potentially radio.
So we also have a national marketing strategy, and everyone contributes to the National Marketing Fund. Again, one of our pods is the National Marketing Pod, so that the franchisees have an input on how the national marketing spend is delivered. And by the way, the national marketing spend is not another percentage by the back door. It is a national marketing spend. It's a ring-fenced pot. It's got its own account. We publish what that money is being spent against, so it's very, very open. It's all about marketing. So it's quite a large national spend that goes on to help people to maintain their client base and also grow their client base.
We actually have exclusive best practice marketing days as well, where we get franchise owners together in regions of 15 franchisees and talk about marketing and tips and brainstorming as well.
The launch of a Water Babies business is actually quite an event. There's a lot that goes into it. It's a big team here, and this really comes around to our marketing team, which is a large team here. And there's quite a process that we go through to help those people. Our main driver here is that people are self-sufficient, so we are supporting you, we're not doing it for you. So it's the franchisee's responsibility to go and get their own swimming pools and to start to build their client base. And actually that starts in a very basic way once they've got their swimming pools, which we help them to do. They literally, marketing starts by running around the streets, giving out leaflets, putting up posters. I mean, it is that face-to-face. But then it gets more sophisticated. We have a whole social media process that we go through. We also target the local press. There's a PR strategy that we have, that our marketing team have, and we have steps within that process. So, for example, once a franchisee has been up and running for its first cycle, it would have done its first photo shoot, and we have a standard press process we go through to advertise. It's your first local babies underwater pictures going out to local press. So there are some things which are standard, which plug in, and then some things are sort of, you know, it's actually what's going on in that area. How can we make something happen?
Exit planning is touched on at the very first one-to-one discovery session, because one of the key questions I think that people come to us and want to know is, this is how much money I've got to invest, what happens when I want to sell the business as well? So that is one of the questions that we cover at that sort of initial meeting.
When you want to plan for exit, you have to, at minimum 3 years in advance, work on this detailed business plan and make sure you sustain this net profit to achieve that.
Part of our support for our franchisees is having an annual meeting discussing what their goals are. And as we approach 50 or 60 or 70, and we have franchisees across all of those age ranges, planning changes a bit and we think, well, one day we might retire, much as we love what we do. So that just becomes a natural part of the planning process. And when someone decides it is the time to retire, on average, it takes 6 to 12, sometimes 18 months to sell their business, and we form a plan where that's a key part of it. We work out the marketing programme for selling the business. Our recruiting team will come and meet the person who's looking to retire, and we develop a plan between us that's part of the annual plan. And that's how that goes.